voice deserves the light. Your story, your light. Come share your creative spark. Your journey, your fire. Come share your creative spark.
Welcome everybody back to another episode of Creative Spark. I'm Angel and I am here with a really great talent that I had the pleasure of working with. I'm so excited to have Mr. Steve Collins and his hat here today to be on the show. Welcome to the show, Steve. How you doing?
I'm good, Angel. How you been?
I've been really good, missing Montana, but getting all my life. It's all right. I'm gonna be okay. I'm
Uh,
gonna be
I can
okay.
help you with that. 2 days ago, it was 77 degrees. Today, it's snowing.
Oh wow. Oh my goodness. I guess I don't miss it that much. Oh,
Yep, that'll help you a
oh.
bit.
The snow's kind of hard for a California girl. But it's all right. It's all right. It's beautiful. Well, I wanted to give you an opportunity to come in here and tell us about who you are as a creative. The people who listen to this show really love hearing about people's creative process. There's a lot of people out there trying to make a decision about the regular life and the life of a creative. So I like to pull the veil back a little bit so people can see
Sounds
that we're
fun.
all just regular people. So tell us a little bit about yourself. Let the audience know who you are, and then we'll dig in and talk more.
All right. So, a little bit about my journey and why it started and what it's doing and where it's going. So, when I was about 30, I was diagnosed with a degenerative disease, as they call it, right? And I got really sick and my life changed and I've had to slow down. And that's been really, really hard for me because I did everything. I was out there in the hills, in the mountains, doing everything. I don't have that energy anymore. I found acting by accident. It was such an outlet for everything that's inside you that the bug bit me hard. I love building characters. I love creating a character over time. It is just so much fun to be not sick, might be the way to put it. I get to
That's
be healthy. I get to do anything I can, anything I want to do on stage because you can. You can just be that guy. And that's where acting started for me, is just to be not who I am because who I physically am is a struggle. And I don't have to be struggling when I'm on stage. That's, I think, what got me into it. The love of making people think, making people consider things and laugh and be entertained is why I keep going, why I chase it so much. I want people to be happy, to enjoy what you're doing. I guess like most actors, we're looking for acceptance and praise and stuff like that.
you know, I love that. One of the things that you said that sticks for me is how you found acting through your process of going through something in your life.
Yeah.
And I think so many of us that, how can I put this? Some people are born creatives and they just go there. They wake up and they're singers at 2 years old and they just sing for the rest of their lives. And some creatives have a life and
Yep.
then something happens to them. And as a result of that thing happen, they find creativity. That's kind of what it feels like I'm hearing in your
Oh,
story.
absolutely for me. I'd never even considered acting. I did public speaking and stuff like that in high school. It wasn't like I was afraid to do it, just not something I ever considered. I didn't, I lived that macho Montana boy lifestyle all my life. Acting doesn't necessarily fit into that. You have to let go you have to let go. You can't be macho and then try to make somebody feel something in their heart if you can't feel it too.
My goodness. That is so interesting to me. So I think people make assumptions about who everybody is. We look at you and like we already have like a list of the stuff that we believe you are based on what you look like.
Yep.
And we're all human. I I do that too. There's no one is perfect, no matter how much we say we're not like that. That's part of the human element. And so you say the macho Montana boy, talking those of us that are not from Montana, we have it in our minds. You're a cowboy, you like ride a horse, you got a gun, you're like, hello, ma'am, you're that guy.
Yep.
And what I'm hearing is that you have a heart, a sensitive, a desire to connect people to something more than just this facade of whatever.
Absolutely. Like I said, Montana boys have to be tough. It's just a thing. Now, things are changing in the world, of course, and it's not necessarily a bad thing that the macho guy image is fading and we're allowed to be more who we really are. But that stuff is still in me. I still, you can tell. Look at my face. I have this fancy beard. I go fishing. I go hunting. I do those things. But I can also be sensitive. I can also make a person cry on stage or make a person laugh on stage or whatever. You just have that feeling that you can help people,
Oh, wow.
I guess, to see who they are a little bit.
So your motivation as a thespian, as an actor, is really about that connection.
I think so because like I said, I try so hard to build my characters to be so believable that maybe somebody will see that character in themselves and say either, well, I like that part of me, or you know what, I don't like that part of me. Maybe I need to do something about that part of me because we all have things, I mean, in us we don't like. You might not believe this, but I can have a temper.
You have a temper?
Once in a blue moon.
You have a temper? Oh my goodness, I can't even imagine you with a temper. But I
Exactly.
guess we all do, right? Things make us mad. We're
Yeah,
human. Things
but
make us upset. Things make us angry. And when we
sometimes you
get
get to
and when we
play
get
an
mad,
yeah, but sometimes you get to play an angry guy on stage. So
yeah.
you can get some of that out of you as you didn't see much of it in The Hitchhiker, but you saw a darkness in Steve that he could bring out if he needed to, if he wanted to, but he's not a good guy. And you don't want that guy out there.
I've had so many actors that I've talked to, and they all answer this question relatively the same. So I'm going to ask you the question. Which do you prefer to play? A villain or a hero?
Oh, geez. Probably the villain
Like every
because they're
single time.
so,
Every single time.
yeah, you go over the top. You get to let all that stuff that you don't want anybody to see out.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
and then it's out. And then you don't have to, you can put it back.
You could be more than just who you are. It's one person I spoke to said it this way. I could be a criminal. I could be nasty. I could rob. I could kill. I could do all of this stuff in play and then go back to my regular life and not have to worry about the consequences.
Yep. Because would you ever do that? No.
No, we're good
But
people. We're
now
good
you got
people.
that fantasy when you're driving and somebody cuts you off and you think about all the things you might like to do to that person, but you don't have to ever do it because you just handled it in a character.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
And then so we talk about how you had, a life-altering kind of event that
Mm-hmm.
caused you to look at your life, which is so inspirational. And then you created this. Why acting? Of all the things that you sat down, like, I have to do something with my life. Why was acting the thing to look at?
Well, in addition to, like I said, getting to be not sick, for lack of a better word, because you look at me, you never think I have these issues, right? I look good. I have whatever. But geez, the people. Oh my goodness. I have never been with more accepting, caring people ever. And they accept whoever or whatever you are. And it's just been incredible. Like I said, being a man, being in Montana, being in the military, you always have to put out that persona where you are untouchable.
Mm.
But if you're acting with somebody and they love the fact that you can be emotional, that you can cry on stage because you can think about something that touched you. And so you can put that out there. They appreciate that and they love you for that. You're appreciate, they call it talent, they call it skill. I don't call it that. I call it just being able to go places that help me be that person, because that
Oh,
person's in you. That sad person is in you because you've had sad times. And if you
that's
can draw on those and help somebody feel what you want them to feel through your experiences, well, then your experiences have a positive light to them a little bit. It's just,
yeah.
again, I just love making people feel something. Most of the time in my world, it's comedy.
Let's talk about that because you're a funny guy. I'm not gonna lie, you're a funny guy, and you do focus a lot on comedy.
I do.
And
And
I'm assuming, having gone through what you've gone through, that that was probably part of your healing process was just the funny.
oh, I don't doubt it one bit. Because not to get too deep, but I've seen that light.
Yeah.
I've seen that light more than most people even would care to imagine. But for whatever reason, I woke up. And if you can laugh at that, you can laugh at anything.
Oh,
You
yeah.
know, after the first couple of times, you're like, "Huh, I did it again." Did I tell you the nickname I have?
What is your nickname?
They call me the cockroach.
Oh, because
Can't kill me.
cockroaches can survive the
You can't
nuclear
kill me.
holocaust.
Now that sounds terrible, but guess who gave me that nickname and it stuck? I did.
You did.
I
Yeah.
did. One of those times I just call me the cockroach. You can't kill me. I'm going to keep on keeping on.
That's crazy.
And
That's so inspirational that you like own that. You like wear that like a
it's a badge of
medal.
honor. It's a badge of
Yeah.
honor. I've survived all of this stuff. And, my dog, I remember at one time I walked into the doctor's office when things were especially bad. And this was very early in that journey. And, they ask you all those depression questions. And I just broke down in tears.
Ugh.
I think that's the only time I've ever done that.
Wow.
Because again, as you go on, I've got so many other blessings, wonderful life, wonderful family, enough money to do things, to enough money to go act for free if you want to, stuff like that. You know what I'm saying? I've been taken care of in so many other ways that I had to sit back and realize, you know what? Okay, I don't have the health, but I have all these other things. Nobody gets everything.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, I'm going to play with what I got and I'm going to enjoy what I've got.
As an
So
act, I'm
where
sorry.
that is.
Go ahead. I'm sorry.
I was just saying that's where that is. I mean, so what's going on right this minute? I told you about the improv, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes.
Well, shortly after we finished up with our fire break, the boys and me, Bad Napoleon, my buddy, he's that internet phenomenon, right? We decided we are going to use that name, let him kind of do some of his stuff while we're doing improv. And we had a show in Butte that went crazy.
Ooh, tell me about that. That sounds exciting.
It was super. Well, it was like a rock show. And I was so excited. I got to introduce and start the show, right? So I got the crowd amped up and then it just went, and we owned them in the first 10 minutes. And then the show was great. One day after that, South Dakota State University, which is a big school up here, calls us up. They're interested. Bozeman, they're interested. Missoula, they're interested. We are going on tour.
That is amazing. You do one show and now you're doing a tour. That is amazing.
And now we are got the tour all ramping up and we're I mean, it's super exciting time for us because we do a lot of stuff and we have a lot of fun, but our little community theater is struggling to
Yeah.
keep its doors open, like I'm sure everyone in the
Yeah.
country is. So apparently it needs to keep going because for whatever reason, we're not going to get theological, but for whatever reason, this other thing was set in front of us and it is going to help keep those doors open.
And I love that you point to an element outside of yourself. And I think that people take for granted that for most creatives, we have to see something outside of ourselves to have that hope and a drive for something above and beyond just every day, go get up, drink your coffee, go to work, come
Right.
home. This is a whole different world. So now you do the improv, I know you do comedy. What is the difference for you from acting in, say, a film or something, and then doing this this show now that you're going on tour?
Well, of course, a lot of it's structure, of course.
Yeah.
That is the biggest, most obvious difference. There's a lot of structure in film, but also what you're putting out for the people, when it's all said and done, it'll be the most perfect thing that can be put out there
Yeah.
because there's just so much, like I said, there's so much time. You get to do it 50 times, and then they can take all 50 of those times and make you look so good. So you're going to be perfect when you're on film, or as
Yeah.
perfect as it can be.
Yeah.
Whereas on stage live, boy, once it's out there, and the high is bigger when it's successful.
Do you ever
There's
get do you ever
Go
get
ahead.
nervous you're gonna say the wrong thing or do the wrong
I
thing, or
no,
phones and taping?
the only time I really struggle at is if I'm going out on stage in a scene and I have the very first lines to start a scene, but after that it's all gone.
Yeah.
And that's the easiest time to have that problem because it's so easy to have that first line in your head all set ready to go. And then like I said, once you get that first line out, then the scene starts and everything's great.
Yeah.
And improv, well, that's a little different, but the way that show started, this most recent show, like I said, we could do no wrong.
Wow. It's
And like, there's not a higher high in life than just having a theater full of people,
Yeah, oh
like I
my
say,
God.
completely in your hands, just eating up everything you say.
You know, it's what I've clocked as I listen to you talk is that again, something happened in your life, and I could be wrong, but I'm feeling like today's Steve is managing his fear different from yesterday's Steve.
Today's Steve is nothing like the Steve 20 years ago.
What's
Nobody
the
would, people didn't care much for the Steve 20 years ago.
oh, really?
Steve,
What were the highlights of that Steve?
well, that was when Steve got sick. Steve's marriage went to hell. Steve was not home. He was in a porn city. Nothing went well at that time. And and the marriage was terrible for years before that. I was unhappy for all those years, and all those things got stripped away from me.
Hmm.
And I have a wonderful, wonderful wife with me now that's super supportive of everything I do. Never yells, never angry with me. Thinks I'm funny. That helps.
That does help. That does help.
Yeah, she looked at me and said, "Steve, you're not funny." Well, that might hurt.
That might hurt a little bit. There's nothing funny about you, Steve.
Uh,
Go back in there and go back to work.
yeah, exactly. So again, everything was stripped away. I spent a couple of nights without a place to stay, up all night. Again, this silly little disease that I have was eating me away, literally. My kid disappeared when my wife took off. I lost my son for a little time, got him back.
Good for
Everything
you.
came together,
Good
but
for
there
you.
was a time when nothing was left. And I say at 32, 33 years old, I rebooted my life. It was a total reboot. I started over completely. Got one good piece of advice from my father, which was don't drop everything and run home. Don't quit your job.
Mm-mm.
So I didn't. And I just started over there. And little by little, things came. And you appreciate things when you get them again.
Yeah. Yeah.
If you lose everything and you build them again, you really appreciate what you've done and what you have or what you were given, because you really don't ever do anything. You're given sometimes what you deserve, sometimes you don't deserve it, but everything is given to you in some way. That's how I believe in life. Yes, you have to work hard, but a lot of people work hard and never get anything.
Yeah.
Everything is given to you at some way or another.
So my friend, you tapped into so much, and I too, have gone through the process, got an illness, died, and I'm here. And I think that what sits for me is how younger people often go into despair. And when you have the opportunity to go after your dream when you're older, it's like a dish that just tastes so much sweeter
Yeah, oh
than
yeah,
it would have if you were 22 years old. I don't know why that is. It feels crazy, but it just feels that way to me. How does
I
it feel
agree.
to you?
100% agree with you. It is a dish that is sweeter, yes. And then the phrase that I use a lot with young people when they're struggling and they'll ask me questions, I'm like, it's temporary. Everything's temporary.
Yeah.
The bad is temporary. The good is temporary. It'll all change. And when it changes, just remember that whatever it changed to, that's temporary too.
Yeah, because life in and of itself is temporary, right? We don't have any control. And if you had the opportunity to pursue your dream right now or do nothing, that challenge is so different when you're older than when you're young because we're immortal when we're young. And it's like,
Yep.
oh, I'll get to it now or I won't.
No, I won't. I tell people today, they like, well, why do you run so hard? And I'm like, because death is chasing me and I'm not going to let him
Ooh,
catch.
ooh, is he chasing?
He ain't catching me. I'm not going to be sitting on the couch and he's going to walk in the door.
You're not ready. You're not ready. You're not
No,
ready.
no, I'm having too much fun in life. I'm too happy in this life that I have today. It ain't happening.
So tell me, as an actor, I'm Gen X, you're Gen X, and
Yep.
we grew up watching the greats and
Oh,
the method in the actor studio and all of that. And today it's very different. How do you describe your process as an actor? That's something that just absolutely fascinates me as I talk to actors.
well, it's a little slower than most, especially the young people. They can do it quicker. I try to. My goal is when I'm on screen, of course, is for them to not even think that I'm acting at all. Yeah,
Yeah.
if I'm supposed to be some terrible bad guy, again, I'll go back a little bit to where I used to not care what other people were doing or not care if other people got hurt or whatever the case may be. Or I also take it from the greats. I watch what the greats did because they were great for a reason. If I'm supposed to be funny, I'll work on it. I'll try to be funny. Try to carry I try not to carry a negative character out in my life during that time. And I do a pretty good job with that because but then it takes a little bit more time to fall into that character for sure. But boy, if I have a zany character, people around me during that time can get annoyed because I'm just zany all the time.
Yeah.
If I have a character that's like maybe foul mouthed or something like that, I have a hard time sometimes reining that in.
That's not you. That's
Those characters are all in you. They're all
yeah.
in you. You're all of these things. You've had to do these things at some point in your life. You think about it. You go to work. You put on a different face when you go to work. You're with your young friends. It's a different face. You're with your older friends. It's a different face. You're acting 24/7. Not, you don't be just who you are all the time until you become, again, that more positive person, and that's who you are naturally.
Every journey has a story.